Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Detroit Sports Sit Down. My name is Tom Murphy Jr. I'm with Joe Perry and Dan Murphy, and this is the college edition. Week 2, Michigan escapes. Michigan State rolls. The Big Ten's looking pretty sharp. The college football landscape as a whole is looking like it's going to be exciting once again, because that is college football. What else would you expect? Right now, our main topic is Michigan football. And man, Michigan's 2-0, right?
They are 2-0.
They're 2-0. That's a fact. That is a fact. That's facts.
They're 2-0 and they're still a top 10 team. Right now.
Man, that
it was a nail biter, to say the least.
Nail biter. Did it feel like a loss? Is there reason to be feeling like Michigan is suspect? The number 7 team in the country got taken to the brink and almost had an epic loss.
I said they got outplayed. Outplayed and outcoached in that game.
Outcoached?
I would say so, yeah.
Ooh, Joe.
I don't know. It's hard to say that just because of that offense. You know what I'm saying? They only threw the ball a few times, and to me it's hard to say it's outcoached. I know it's the game they played, the triple option, all that, but to me it's hard to say that just because of the talent of throwing the ball down the field. You get what I'm saying? It was a tough game. I did think that they were going to lose for sure, and Shea Patterson did not look good. He didn't throw a touchdown. 19 to 29 for 207. I don't know. I still question him a lot.
Where is this entire offense? There were questions coming in to the season at running back, and it looks like we got a freshman, a true freshman in Charbonneau, who is probably going to be the guy going forward.
And he had 33 carries with 100 yards.
Who is the guy at quarterback? And I think that's our main topic of discussion. Because Shea Patterson does not look like, A, he's not a Heisman Trophy candidate. B, I'm not sure he should be the starting quarterback. And Dan, I know you got some serious thoughts on this. They have a bye this Saturday. Could this bye not be coming at a better time if you're Dylan McCaffrey?
Yeah, I think Dylan McCaffrey is going to be the starting quarterback when they go play Wisconsin, because the offense they're trying to run and what they're trying to do, they're doing a lot of read option type stuff, and Dylan McCaffrey's just better at it than Shea Patterson is, and Shea Patterson's showing it. He's careless with the football. The first game, he said, it's the first game, it's a new offense, new coordinator, he's still getting acquainted with everything. But then he came right back again and did it again. The second game, fumbled twice.
Yeah.
Like, if they're going to have an offense where the quarterback's going to run a lot, he's got to take care of the football. And Shea Patterson has not done it in 2 straight games now. And not only that, but he was missing open receivers and consistent basis. Mm-hmm. And that's where I felt like they needed to take advantage of Army. Like, that's where they're going to have the mismatches, is with their receivers and their style of offense, and they're supposed to have the speed and space, and I didn't see any of that. Like, you just mentioned the stats, 33 carries for Charbonneau, a freshman running back against Army, like for 100 yards. You're just 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I didn't see, this is supposed to be a new Michigan team, like playing fast, having these big time receivers, getting the ball to them in space, like taking advantage of their athletic abilities, taking away their athletic advantages over these corners and safeties that they should have over Army. I didn't see any of that stuff. I didn't see any of it.
Like, honestly, where is this, man? Like, you break down these stats. Bell was 7 catches for 81 yards. Yeah, that's nice. That is. But then you look down. Collins, 2 catches, 32 yards. Tariq Black, 3 catches, 24 yards. Like, these guys are supposed to be electric. Mm-hmm. Man, they're supposed to be just dominating.
The tight ends? Like, you didn't see a ton from the tight ends either? I don't know, man. Like, I didn't see everything that was advertised before the season. Like,
why we were the 7th ranked team.
Which I think goes back to it. I don't know if Shea Patterson's the right guy for this offense and what they want to do. And Dylan McCaffrey, whenever you see Dylan McCaffrey come into the game, like, the whole atmosphere kind of changes. Like, he's just a better athlete than what Shea Patterson. And it's not even that close. What happened
with that? Like, especially like with Harbaugh saying, I expect to see Dylan McCaffrey, playing in these games and
His arm worries me.
That tells me a lot.
0 for 1.
Yeah.
But they went into the season saying it's going to be a 2-quarterback system. Like, you're going to see Dylan McCaffrey get playing time in these games. What that tells me is, number one, they're not fully confident in Shea Patterson to lead this football team to a championship. Okay, number one, and number two, they are very confident in Dylan McCaffrey's abilities as an athlete, and they want to get him on the field.
Yeah.
And with the results from these last 2 games and what you've seen Shea Patterson do, missing receivers, fumbling the football, now you got a week off. You got a huge game at Wisconsin. You got to have the guy that you trust. I have to, as Harbaugh and this staff has to put the best quarterback they can put out there to give them the best opportunity to win a football game. And to me, it's pretty clear it's Dylan McCaffrey is their best option to win a football game and to win consistently and be a successful football team this season. And that means going to a Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
And I don't think they can do it with Shea Patterson at quarterback. I think they have to go to Dylan McCaffrey and see what happens, because he's their best option to be highly successful. And we saw this happen with Clemson last year, right? They went to the young quarterback when they had the opportunity to, because he was the best athlete. He gave them the best opportunity to win, right? They went with him. They win a national championship. They're favored to win a national championship again. Michigan's in a situation. I don't think he's as good, but Dylan McCaffrey is better than Shea Patterson, and they have to go with him right now. Now is the time to go to him.
It just worries me a little bit about McCaffrey's arm and his throwing, because you haven't seen much of it, so that worries me a little bit about it. But you're right. He is a way better athlete. His speed, his awareness, running the ball, and if they want to do that, have that type of option, that's the quarterback they need to go with. He has so much more upside than Shea Patterson does. Shea Patterson is what you see.
Why?
That's what he is. He's not going to be any better. McCaffrey has a high ceiling.
Why hasn't it happened already then? Why didn't it happen
his arm.
in the summer?
I think his arm strength. I don't know if it's strength. Like I said, I haven't seen him throw the ball much. I don't know if he's not accurate, what it is, to tell you the truth, but I feel like it's something with him throwing the ball.
Is there something to do with the fact that Shea Patterson was promised something when he left Ole Miss and transferred to Michigan, that he was going to get every possible chance?
That doesn't matter, man. Yeah. This is the University of Michigan. Like, Harbaugh's in his fifth year. Like, they got to win a championship. Like, they got to win games. Like, it doesn't matter what was promised. We promised you Shea. That stuff doesn't matter, man.
Yeah.
This is Michigan. Like, you got to put the best players that are going to give you the best opportunity to win.
Yeah. So how much should we put on Patterson? Because he was under a lot of pressure last week. That Army team was tough. That defense was
tough. They are a tough team, and they were.
And if you look at his stats, 19 of 29, 207 yards, no touchdowns, but no picks. But those fumbles, man. How much do you put those fumbles on him?
Well, one was clearly him.
He
was just careless with the football. The other one, he got hit from behind. He didn't see it coming. He fumbled. That one, you can't really blame him so much.
Yeah.
But still, like, the other fumble was clearly on him. He was just careless with the football. He just kind of flew it out of his hands. Like, it can't happen. Like, 2 fumbles. I think they have 5 possessions in the first half, and they fumbled 3 times. 2 of them were Patterson's. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I think they had 3 fumbles all of last year, and they had 3 fumbles in the first half of that game. Like, that's a huge problem. And they can't have those type of turnovers and those type of mistakes, because they had a lot of penalties too. Penalties were killing them. Like, they cannot have those mistakes when they go and play big games, and they got a huge game coming up in the next game.
Exactly. You can't imagine how big this game is this early in the season, and they have 2 weeks to prepare for it. But they have to go into Madison against a team that, mind you, the competition was low, but Wisconsin looks like a well-oiled machine right now. And they're just firing on all cylinders. And Michigan is going to have to come in and play a damn near a perfect game. I don't know if they can do it, especially if they're not even sure who their quarterback is right now.
We got 2 weeks to figure it out.
So would it benefit Michigan to spend all this week having a quarterback competition?
No, it's not a competition. I think they've made a decision after the game, one way or the other, because I don't think they're going to have a competition going into it. Like, they already know what they have in both guys.
Yeah.
And I think they were expecting more out of Shea Patterson than what they've gotten. I think everybody was. And Shea Patterson didn't step up to the plate, man. Like, it was his chance. He got as much opportunity as he could have. He didn't show enough for what this team wants to do and what this team wants to do this season and what this team needs to do this season. And he had the opportunity and didn't step up. It's Dylan McCaffrey's time now. And I would be very surprised if Dylan McCaffrey isn't starting. I really would. Because if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
Really? You'd really be surprised if
would
Harbaugh doesn't stick with Shea
Because
Patterson,
when they said a 2-quarterback system
guy.
going into the season, that told me that, okay, this is a quarterback controversy. This is a full-out quarterback controversy, and they are not settled on Shea Patterson, and they really like Dylan McCaffrey.
What happens if McCaffrey goes into Wisconsin and fails miserably?
Then the season's probably down the drain, for one.
You go back to Patterson and say, hey, sorry, buddy, well,
it depends what failed miserably is.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he just looks awful, gets beat, if they announce that Dylan McCaffrey is a starting quarterback going into Wisconsin and Michigan loses 33-10, and McCaffrey has a decent game but doesn't really show anything, and the team just gets beat.
I mean, miserable would have to be miserable would have to be like 6 turnovers or something. Okay, so because if you go to Dylan McCaffrey now, you're saying
you got to stick with him.
You got to stick with him,
no matter what happens in Madison.
Yes,
yeah. Because you got him next year too.
So what do you do with Patterson then?
Who cares?
He's your backup.
If McCaffrey gets hurt, then Patterson goes back in.
What, are you supposed to be nice to these people? You got to put
what happened with Jalen Hurts and Tua? What happened with Jalen Hurts and Tua?
Oh, it's your job if you don't.
They went with Tua, right? The younger, better athlete.
Oh,
and Jalen Hurts ended up having to come in the biggest game of the season when Tua got hurt, and Hurts brought him back and won the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe that happens with Shea Patterson. I don't know, but you got to go with the guy that's going to give the best opportunity to win right now. And in my mind, it's Dylan McCaffrey, and I think in that coaching staff, I think agrees. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll go into Wisconsin and Shea Patterson's starting quarterback. I don't think so, though, because if they're going to do it, they're going to do it now. And if they went into the season with 2-quarterback system, they already had thoughts of this going into the season.
All right, if the Wolverines go into Madison and Shea Patterson is the starting quarterback and the team just does not do good, and a lot of it is because Shea Patterson fumbles again, throws a couple picks, just looks terrible. Are you furious with Harbaugh? Are you starting to question that it's time to fire him? Or are you just hoping that they just go back to then they make the switch for the next week? Because if you go into Wisconsin and you lose, the season's not over, but it's kind of over. Because there is a lot of expectation on Michigan right now.
It's better to lose early, so it isn't over. I think you could still win a Big Ten championship because, like we said, looking at the first and second week, they've been pretty good, the Big Ten. So there might be 2 teams up there, and you might be able to maybe beat a team in the championship that's undefeated.
That could be Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not over, and what benefits it is that Wisconsin's not in their division. Mm-hmm. So, no, it's not over, but, man... It's not
good when you lose.
It especially depends how you lose, too, if you get blown out and all those type of things. But the main thing is here, I think we're all looking to see when is Harbaugh going to say anything, which he's probably not. Historically, he's not.
Oh, he's not.
So we're not going to know until that offense runs out on the field. And we'll see. We'll see what this coaching staff goes with. I'm fascinated by it, and I think I've made my opinion pretty well known. I think they should go with McCaffrey, and I think that's what they will do. Yeah. But we'll see. I
want to go back to this Army game, though, because Michigan fans, they're up in arms, man. They took double overtime and a missed field goal at the end of regulation. That if that kid from Army makes that field goal, that's the one that you're just going to see for the next 20 years. Just like that stupid hit we have to see all the time. Just like that stupid touchdown from Colorado we got to see all the time.
Appalachian State field goal.
That Appalachian State field goal that we got to see all the time.
Or the block, I should say. The block field goal.
Oh, yeah. Just all that. The kid from Army makes that. Plus, it was his first collegiate field goal ever. Oh, man. Thank God that the kid didn't make it. I guess what I want to go back to about this game is that, again, I want to throw out there that this Army team took Oklahoma to overtime last year.
Yeah, so
this team is good. Like, that Army team, they're hard to coach against. You're never going to see an offense like that the rest of the year. And these guys are going to be, like, dropping out of planes and shooting guns and, like they're soldiers, Like this Army football they're just tough, man. But, yeah, Michigan should beat them. They shouldn't have to go to double overtime, especially when you're the number 7 team in the country. But the fact that so many people want to say that this is basically a loss for Michigan. It's ringing the bells that this Michigan team is not going to be good. The point I want to make is they took on a really tough team and overcame a bunch of circumstances, and they found a way to win the game. They're 2-0. Yeah, man. Am I confident that they would go beat Clemson tomorrow? No. No way. Am I confident they go beat Alabama tomorrow? No. But, they persevere. They found a way to win, and now they have a week off. And then they get to go into Madison with 2 weeks rest, a fully sharp team. It is going to be very interesting to see what they do at quarterback. And, Dan, I'm not 100% with you. Part of me thinks Harbaugh's going to stick with Shea, at least for the early part down there in Madison. But I'm not giving up on the Wolverines right now just because they almost lost to Army and they didn't look that sharp. Plus, Gaddis, offensive coordinator, just calling these plays, like, he's still figuring it out too,
Well, that's another thing I want to bring up. So 33 carries for Charbonneau, right? Yeah. And I kind of talked about 33 carries for 100 yards, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right? Man, like, that was not what we were told before the season. Like, that's not what any of us were expecting. Like, that looked very similar to everything we've seen. That looked very similar to a Harbaugh run offense.
Yeah, it did.
Who was calling the plays? Who was making the decision? Who came up with that game plan? Because that didn't look like a Josh Gaddis called game from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering that if Harbaugh's really given up total control to Gaddis like he said he was going to, because it just didn't look like what we were told we were going to see before the season.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I've heard a lot of people talking about that. That was a Harbaugh offense. That we saw that game.
Those are where my concerns come. Like, I'm not concerned
to their competition.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like I'm not concerned about the fact that they played Army to a close game, because we all know about what Army did to Oklahoma last year. And Army beat the hell out of Houston in their bowl game, like 70-14. Okay, so Army's not a bad football team, right? But the defense played well against it, like as well as you could hope against a team like that. Like, they held them to 14 points in regulation, right? In terms of that, like, I'm not upset about the game, and I'm not saying, like, it was like a loss. I'm just concerned about this offense from the quarterback position. Yeah. I'm concerned about the play calling. Who was really calling the plays? Is Josh Gaddis is he good enough to call the plays? Is he comfortable enough to call the plays? Because he didn't truly call the plays at Alabama either. Like,
he never did. No,
he never did.
This is his first year calling the plays.
This is his first year calling the plays. So we were told things before the season that we were going to see all this stuff, the speed and space, and Gaddis was going to have full control. Is that really what is happening?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of questions with this offense, from the play calling, from the quarterback position, from the team as a whole. What's going on with Donovan Peoples-Jones? When is he going to play? How bad is this injury? Like, he's their number one receiver. He's not there. It's a huge loss. Yeah. When is he coming back? Is he going to be back for the Wisconsin game? A lot of questions with this offense that need to be corrected. And you've got 2 weeks to fix it.
On the flip side of that, though, it is nice to see Tariq Black looking like he's 100%.
Yeah, but how involved was he? What, he had 3 catches?
Nico Collins looks like he's going to be a star.
I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, who did they depend on the most in that game? 2 freshmen.
Yeah.
Ronnie Brown and Charbonneau. Like, that's a problem.
Bell, right?
Or Ronnie Bell. What did I say? Ronnie Brown? Yeah, Ronnie Brown. Yeah, Ronnie Bell. I'm sorry. But still, anyways, 2 freshmen. Like, that's a problem. Like, they need to be depending on their upperclassmen.
It's a problem, but like, if your athletes and your stars are your stars, that's fine. Whoever's going to show up and make plays, man. But I'm with you, Dan, at the quarterback position. I I don't want to give up on Shea yet because he was just so highly touted coming in.
But what have you seen from him?
A lot. Like
what?
He's got. He can get out
What
of the
does he do
pocket.
well?
He
gets out of the pocket
He's got
well?
a strong arm.
He's got a strong
He
arm?
can read a defense. He can make plays, but he doesn't always make. He's not 100%.
He does not have a strong arm.
He's made some decent throws downfield.
He cannot get out of the pocket. He looks like a little kid
he's
out
not
there.
Deshaun Watson, man, just throwing dimes 60 yards downfield. No, but
I don't know. He doesn't look
I'm
like
not
a
ready
college.
to
He
give
looks
up
like
on
a
him
high
yet.
school
More
quarterback.
problems are in accuracy.
At the same time, I'm kind of excited. Dylan McCaffrey, dude. I mean, McCaffrey, my God, just the name, man. Between his dad and his brother, man, just that pedigree, you know.
He's just got the speed. He's a way better athlete.
And he's probably going to shine, man. Maybe it's just time, man. You're like, yeah, kid, sorry we took you from Ole Miss and brought you up here, but at least you're not playing at Ole Miss, man. You're going to have to sit on the bench because this McCaffrey kid is better than you, you know. And
I mean, as a college player, you got to know that people can take your spot and that you have to perform. I mean,
and at some point, it's got to happen, man. If you're not making, and it's like the hot seat for how hot is the hot seat for Harbaugh right now, man? Because if Harbaugh does just have another ho-hum 9-win season, loses to Ohio State, loses to Michigan State, loses to Notre Dame.
He's still got a good 5
mind
years.
you, all three. If he loses to all three of those teams, all three of them will be at home.
Yeah.
How? Like, do you fire him?
I think it depends the outcomes. You know, if they get run by Ohio State again, and it happens at home, you got to have some talks because at that point they're just not competing with Ohio State. Like they got murdered at Ohio State last year, and if that happens again, then you got to have the talks.
Well, what do you do?
But if it's close, like if these games are close, like they were a couple of years ago when they went to double overtime with Ohio State, and the game a few years back when they had the trouble with the snap, and like they're games like that that are like
if they home games,
but if it's like
Michigan State, Ohio State, Notre Dame.
It depends on the games, like super close. Like if they're just like a play here, play there, and if you say they go with Dylan McCaffrey right now, right, and he shows that he's the guy. And they lose these games super close. You know, maybe there's a bad call in one game. Another game was just like a pass just slips through a guy's hand. You know, like it's just little plays here and there.
What if it comes down to a coaching decision and they lose?
Well, then, maybe we're having the talks. Then it's Harbaugh that lost the game. It just depends how the games go.
It's a very thin line. Like, so you think that Harbaugh could have an 8-4 year, lose to all his rivals at home, and still come back next year? Because
I don't think he'll get fired, but it depends.
He would. I
what
feel
would
like
it
he's
take
sitting
to
there
get Harbaugh fired?
Yeah, I think he's still sitting there, comfy in his office with his feet up, just chilling. If he goes 8-5, I mean,
well, now we're extending it. At first it was 9-3, then you said 8-4. Now you're saying I changed my opinion. And I'm saying if they lose, those are the three biggest games, right? Let's say they go on
Notre Dame, Michigan State, and Ohio State, and it looks like all three of them could potentially be
top 10 when
top
they play
10 while they play. Because we're gonna get into Michigan State for a minute. And they look damn good.
But I think if these are hypothetical, and I hate playing hypotheticals.
So
let's just say all that happens, right? And they lose close games to those teams, but Dylan McCaffrey comes in and plays really well. Then you say, okay, you go into next year. Harbaugh's on the hot seat.
Charbonneau's a freshman.
Yeah, freshman and Bell and you say, okay, so you have some confidence in what this team is going forward, and you kind of have an identity, which they don't have right now. They'll have an identity. It's Dylan McCaffrey, and it's that read option, and that's who they are. And if they play well but lose close games, then you go into the next year, and then Harbaugh's probably sitting on the hot seat at that point because you can't just get to the point where you got to win big games.
Road though, then, and then it's the extra tough because all your tough games are on the road. So if he loses a bunch of close games next year, is it? Oh, well, all the games are so now.
No, but then it comes.
Now we're talking about year 7.
Then it comes to the point where it's just like, okay, he's not winning big games. Which and then you're just getting into a Cooper situation in Ohio State.
That was this year. This is supposed to be the year where he wins the big games, where everything lines up for him. Everything's on the home slate. You got to win all these big games to go to the playoffs. This is the year. There's no question about it's his 5th year, so all his guys are his guys. It's his guys, his teams. Everything's lining up. I don't see how you could say that if everything's just close, he's okay.
And what do you want? I mean, you're going to fire Harbaugh and then go to what? Like, that's like Michigan isn't Alabama or Clemson where they win national championships every year.
How not?
They never were.
They're the winningest program in the history of college football.
They
have the most fans. They have the biggest stadium. This is Michigan.
Jim Harbaugh is Bo Schembechler right now. Win 9-10 games.
Bo Schembechler is a legend.
How many national championships did he win?
It was all about the Big Ten.
How many national championships did he win?
They didn't play for national championships back then because the Big Ten was too good.
The Big Ten was too good? It's pretty damn good right now, too, I would say.
I know.
Okay, so Michigan, if they're a 9-10 win team every year, Big House is selling out. Yeah. Fans are still excited going in it every single year because they're always going to have talent, top 10 recruiting classes. That's Michigan, man. And then they're going to have a year where they get into the playoffs. They're going to have a year where they win a Big Ten. I can't say it's going to be this year. I can't say it's going to be next year, but they're going to have a year.
That happened was 22 years ago.
Lloyd Carr was the same thing. I mean,
we chased that man out of town, dude.
And then everybody regrets it.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody regrets it because they had, an 8-year period where they were absolutely terrible. Like, you can't
Still
just...
haven't recovered.
Trying to find coaches that are going to win you 9 to 10 games every single year consistently is not easy to do. And fans just think they just grow on trees. You can just go get one. Oh, we're Michigan. We can just go get one. Well, what is Michigan? What are they? Consistently, throughout the last 50 years, they're a 9 to 10 win team. Every once in a while, they have that one team that breaks through.
Yeah.
And goes to a Rose Bowl, or in this situation, it'd be go to the playoffs, win a Big Ten championship. But they're not a team that goes to the national championship year in and year out. They're not that type of program.
No.
But they're still a top 15 program. They're still going to win 9 to 10 games every year. Like, I don't know what this fan base wants. Yeah, win big games.
Big wins. Win the big game. Like, get together on a Saturday with everything's on the line. Game days at your house. And you go out and win against Ohio State. And you get that glory moment. You get that glory moment that Michigan should have. Michigan should be, if you factor in all the numbers and all like the fan bases and how cool the helmets look and how we get ranked in the top 10 every year almost, we should have a signature win that's not from the 90s. Like there should be something forward from that. And there's no signature wins in anything that's 2-0 whatever. Can you name a signature win? There's none. There's the triple overtime against Michigan State, but that one didn't even really matter because we ended up losing the game of the century that year anyway, I think, if I'm correct. Was that the same year? When Braylon Edwards went off and caught all the touchdowns and they won in double overtime, triple overtime. But then it was 2006 where it was should have beat Ohio State but didn't. In the game of the century, Bo died the day before. Like that should have been the cement win. But we lost that game. And there's no signature wins since '97. But Michigan every year, I mean, we had a little period with the Rich Rod and Brady Hoke where we weren't even that good, man, going 6-6 and whatnot, 3 and whatever. But Michigan is Michigan, and we keep expecting, and there's so much talk about Harbaugh coming back and bringing that winning tradition. And he brought the Niners to the Super Bowl. And he was going to bring Michigan to the national championship, and he was going to challenge Nick Saban, and it's been nothing but defeat.
No, it hasn't.
We're 2-0.
2-0. It's been nothing but defeat in the eyes of the national spotlight, man. Obviously, it's nothing but defeat against Urban Meyer. Thank God he's gone. It's been pretty much nothing but defeat against D'Antonio.
No, it hasn't. they beat him last year.
Did it matter, though?
It could have. If they didn't get blown out by Ohio State.
If they didn't get blown out by Ohio State.
They would have won that game.
So, I ask again, did it matter?
No.
So okay, fine, fire Harbaugh. Fine, go back.
I'm not ready to do that yet, but I want to see some freaking wins. I want to see some concrete wins, man. Some real. What's your greatest Harbaugh win? Do you have a defining moment of Jim Harbaugh's 4 years at Michigan so far? Is there something that you just hang your head on that says, I am so glad that Jim Harbaugh is the coach of this team because he's really brought Michigan to the forefront?
Well, because Michigan was on the brink of being another Miami, another Tennessee.
So they're back to just being
9-10 win teams, and hopefully there's going to be a year that they break through.
So that's good enough for you. But you can't name a win, though.
You didn't give me an opportunity to name a win. Wisconsin a couple years ago, they won 14-7. They beat the hell out of Penn State the year Penn State ended up going to the Rose Bowl. Those are 2 wins right there. Beat Michigan State last year in Michigan State.
How did they finish after those wins?
I don't know. They finished like 9-10 wins. I think, what is it, the 2016, they won 11 games. That was the year they lost a really close game to Florida State. In the bowl game, they lost a really close game to Ohio State that they should have won if they didn't. There was some bad referee calls.
Yeah, so just a bunch of almost, and it could have been. And
yeah, kind of like Lloyd Clark, except for the 1 year they broke through and won a national championship that we always talk about. Like, there's going to be a year that Michigan breaks through.
When?
Like,
when?
I can't tell you when. Like, did you think Lloyd Clark was going to win? Do you think Lloyd Clark was going to win a national championship in 1997? No one thought that going into the season.
Yeah, they did. That defense was...
Well, nobody thought they were going to go into this.
I can't go all the way back to 1997 and tell you what all the national pundits thought, but I'm pretty sure that everybody thought that defense was going to be freaking stellar.
No one thought they were winning a national championship that year. Nobody did. They kept rising through the ranks.
Well, we could...
My point is
that was 1997. When do we get our glory moment? We haven't had a glory moment since, man. Those ones you named off, yeah, they were nice.
How many teams play college football? Division I, like 126.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say.
How many teams get a glory moment? And what you pinpoint is a national championship. Only one team gets that every year out of 126 teams that play college football. If you're only going to rate success,
they haven't beat Ohio State. Look at the record and go back even past Harbaugh. Just win it. It's Michigan's fault that Michigan versus Ohio State is not the greatest rivalry in sports right now. It's Michigan's fault because they keep getting the kicked out of them. It's Michigan's fault. That's annoying. That is annoying because Michigan-Ohio State is the greatest rivalry in sports, but not right now. And I can even admit that Auburn-Alabama is a way better rivalry right now in the last 15 years because Michigan keeps getting their teeth kicked in, and it's annoying. And when you look at what Michigan has not been to the playoffs. They have not been to the Big Ten championship game. Michigan State has been there. Michigan State has won the Big Ten champ. Michigan State has been to the playoffs. That doesn't annoy you?
Yeah. He's going to have to, he needs to break through. But what I'm saying is you just say that, yeah, if he doesn't win these big games, even if they're really close, he's got to be fired. Like, to me, that's ridiculous.
What point does it take to him at what point do you have to move on from the Jim Harbaugh experience? If Michigan loses to Notre Dame, Michigan State, and Ohio State all at home this year, Harbaugh has to be fired. I can't imagine a scenario where he isn't.
I don't see that. I really don't. I see him sitting there.
No matter what.
Yeah.
All three of those games, losing all three of those games at home, you think he still has his job?
I see. Yeah, I do. I do see that.
And you think it's justified? I
don't think it's justified. I didn't say that. I said I see him doing. I said I see that happening. To me, I'm not as big fans as you guys for Michigan, so I'm not like all just Michigan. But I do see Dan's point where you have this coach who is going to get you your 10 wins and then every now and again get to the championship. And yeah, it hasn't happened in a while, but you had those moments where you could have got there if you could have won that big game you've been talking about. There were a couple chances to get to that playoffs, and you were a couple plays away from going there. So you do have the coach that can get you there, but the problem is we haven't found a quarterback, and he's supposed to be the quarterback guy.
That's the problem, yeah. And that's why I think they got to go and circling it all back. We had this long discussion about things probably we went off the tracks for. But circling it all back, it's time now to go to Dylan McCaffrey. This is a guy they recruited. they've had in the system this whole time. They've been building up. They've been touting. It's time now. Go to him. He's the guy. It's not some transfer that they brought in from a different school. They got recruited from a different school who originally went to a different school because he wanted to go there. This is the guy. He got drafted here. He wanted to go here. His family wanted him to go here. It's his time now. Let's do it. Let's go. It's Dylan McCaffrey's time, and let's see where you can take it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Like I said, I don't want to just throw Shea under the bus because I really was excited. Remember all the talk when all the stuff was going down with Ole Miss and everybody was transferring and we were going to get Shea, and then it was the whole debacle about was he going to be able to be eligible to play, and then he got eligible, and like I think they had a parade going down Main Street in Ann Arbor that day.
Probably.
Like Shea was going to win the Heisman, and Michigan was going to win the national championship. I still got some of that love, like I just want to see that work out. But, Dan, I'm here with
it's
you.
It's over
man.
a year.
Yeah.
It's been over a year.
You had your time, kid, and it's not working out, man. And you keep fumbling the damn ball. And this kid behind you is chomping at the bit. And there's 2 weeks. And what better chance than to just throw a Big Ten quarterback superstar into the fire than to say, hey, kid, we're throwing you the keys, but you got to drive right into Madison, Wisconsin, into this buzzsaw.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be easy. It's never going to be easy. It's never going to be easy.
So I, like I say, Dan, I kind of agree with you, but I will ask you one more time. You think going into Madison, Wisconsin is the best time to give him the keys?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks to prepare. You should be getting first-team reps right now. And going into next week at first-team reps. Be ready to go. He's the starter. It's his time now. You saw what we saw Shea Patterson. You can't hold on to the football. Like, he had his opportunity. It's McCaffrey's time now. It's his team. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. All right. I want to switch bases here because I was in East Lansing on Saturday, and holy smokes, what a turn of events. You want to talk about a team that was under some fire and responded. You want to talk about a coach, a coaching staff. Mark D'Antonio. All right, the first thing I want to ask you guys, I'm sure you heard Mark D'Antonio pretty much throw his entire offense, the players, the coaching staffs, all right under the bus last Saturday. They beat Tulsa, but the offense looked just not good. And D'Antonio goes out there and he pretty much throws the whole offensive unit under the bus. My question is, was that the right decision for D'Antonio to do, considering that he didn't fire anybody, he just re-shifted his whole coaching staff, and then the first week when things don't look good, he calls them out? Was that a good move?
Obviously, they responded. I mean, I like D'Antonio. I like everything he does. He is a great coach, and he normally does the right thing, I feel like. So it obviously worked. It got his guys going, and I mean, it is Western Michigan, so it's not like a huge win or anything, but it seemed to get his guys fired up, and I feel like he knows what to do. He knows how to treat his players. He's been a good coach for a while.
I thought they should have went outside of the program to bring in a new offensive coordinator, give them a new look, a new style. But that's not D'Antonio's way. It never has been. He's loyal to these guys. A lot of these guys have been with him since, he was at Cincinnati. So that's just not how he is. He's loyal to his guys, maybe to a fault. But he did shuffle things up. Like, they did have a different offensive coordinator. They have, some different looks, some different formations, some different plays. And we'll see. I mean, Western Michigan isn't, like the same thing we say with Wisconsin. They beat the hell out of Central Michigan 61-0. Michigan State wins by 30-plus points against Western. And that's not the greatest competition, but it's good to go out and look, like a good quality football team. Like that, you can see the improvement from week 1 to week 2, which is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see that offense look good.
It was dramatic, and I'm telling you, Dan, the offense, Lewerke looked like a big time quarterback, just throwing dimes, like cool under pressure. And you're right, Western.
I'm still not sold on him, but
Western a couple years ago they were a big time team. Now that was with PJ Fleck, Corey Davis, who was a first,
top 10 pick,
top 5 pick. They had Western was a solid team. They've probably fallen off since, but it's still a formidable opponent. And coming from Kalamazoo, those guys, they're coming to play when they go into. They play this game every year. It's a, if you want to call it a rivalry, I'll call it like a MAC Big Ten rivalry. They play it every year, and these Western kids, they come to play. But I'm telling you, man, this defense,
it's incredible.
They are good.
It's incredible.
They are going to shut people down all year. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care if Michigan State lines up against a Division III team. For week 1 against Tulsa to leave them with negative 73 yards. Yeah. How is that even a stat? Your rushing yards are negative 73.
They count sack.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. With the sacks and all that, and I think there's a couple of bad snaps over the head. All that considered, still, your stat line is negative 73 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's insane. All right, and then this week, a little bit better. I think it was like 24. I don't know if you had those stats lined up.
That what? 24?
Michigan State's versus Western's rushing yards this week, but I think they held them like 24 rushing yards. And the defense, they may have got disinterested or a little bit wore down late because Western did make a tiny comeback or whatever. But the offense looked sharp, and they looked like they were having fun. And I'm telling you, man, this team, they looked electric, and I think D'Antonio, he might have this team ready to go because they have guys, man. They have a leader. They have what Michigan doesn't have right now, and that's a solid leader at quarterback. That Lewerke is the guy. There's no question.
He's definitely a leader. He has to recover from last year. He has to have a better year than last year. I'm still not 100% sold on him.
He's healthy now. He was not healthy last year.
That's true. He was a little banged up last year, so I think he'll have a better year than last year, but I don't know if he's going to be in the league.
So you got the stats lined up there. What was Michigan State's rushing stats?
Michigan State's rushing stats? What sucks is they didn't they don't have totals on the bottom, but
we can't.
I don't know whatever one I pulled up, but let's see. There's 192, 35, 13, 9, 10, so 10.
To well over 12.
About 250.
Yeah, so well over 200 yards.
They're finding. I want to look them up, man, because they found their kid at.
Collins had 192 yards.
Collins
on 17 rushes.
Collins is looking like the truth, man. He is. I'm telling you.
And he had 11 yards per carry. So
now they lost Jalen Naylor, sophomore wide receiver. He was the speedster. I think he's out for the season. They got guys that can catch the ball.
Yeah, like Stewart.
10 catches, 185 yards, and 1 touchdown.
So they have some playmakers. But let's see if it can translate.
But that's to me that's the key factor is if they're able to run the ball like Michigan State teams of old, because that defense is so dominant. And if you can run the football and control the football and keep the defense out the field and get that defense some rest,
you're gonna win 9-6.
I don't even necessarily because if you can run the ball, then that opens up things for a Lewerke who doesn't have to win the game for you. Yep. You know what I mean? Then he puts him in better situations. Exactly. Like if he's and we've talked about it with Stafford, right? I mean, if you can put these quarterbacks into good situations where it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and where it's a run pass option, it just makes it so much easier for the offenses and opens up your playbook as opposed to when you go in 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11 situations and the defensive line can just pin their ears back and run at at the quarterback,
Yeah.
right? So, like, if they can establish a running game, like, Michigan State's going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Now,
with that defense.
Here's the thing, though, man, and this is the key point here, because their schedule is brutal, all right? But they have a defense. When you have a defense that can shut down, you can go on the road and win big games.
Oh, yeah.
But listen to the schedule, man. They got Arizona State. They should murder them at home.
They lose, don't they?
I don't know.
They lost to them last year. Arizona State is not a good team. Arizona State should come in here and get
beat
murdered.
them. Didn't I have that stat last year? I'll have to look it up for our show for next
They
week.
Michigan State went out to Arizona State.
I feel like they were like 0-9 against them or something like that. I remember
There's something
seeing
about
a
it.
stat like that.
Arizona State should come in and get punched in the mouth and not be able to score more than like 10, 15 points. And Michigan State's offense should be able to roll. All right? I'm just saying that, okay? But listen, Arizona State is the least of these worries here. You got to go to Northwestern, all right? Which, not that hard, all right?
It's been hard for them in their history.
Exactly, yeah. And there's Northwestern, they're always scrappy. But you're at Ohio State. You're at Wisconsin. You got Penn State coming into your house. You're at Michigan. Your toughest games are on the road. At Michigan, at Wisconsin, at Ohio State. That's a brutal situation there. But for Michigan State, that, like I said, if you got a top 5 defense and that defense stays like that, and I don't see any reason why they won't, man. This defense is solid, man.
I mean, Michigan and Michigan State are very similar in that sense, where you're hanging your hat on the defense, and then you're seeing what you have in offense. Like, your offense just has to be at least average.
Yeah.
But you need more than that if you're going to win a Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Now, what Michigan has in their favor is their big games are at home. Aside for the Wisconsin game that's coming up, but for their benefit, they got 2 weeks to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Right? And then the rest of their big time games are at home. Where Michigan State, they got to go on the road for all these tough games.
Yep.
So that might end up being the deciding factor
between
who finishes better between Michigan and Michigan State.
Now, I would disagree with you when you say that Michigan and Michigan State are both depending on their defense. I think Michigan State is definitely hanging their hat on this defense, because what Michigan State has, everybody returned. They have a defense that everybody returned. Michigan lost. How many guys are starting in the NFL on Michigan's defense from last season? You know,
but their defense has been consistently
they have to
reload. But they do.
Where
with
Michigan
John
State
Brown.
has a defense that everybody's coming back, and they're coming back with a vengeance. So
I agree, but I mean, Don Brown's defenses, even when they're in rebuilding mode, they're still top 10 year in and year out.
I hope so, man. I hope so, so I wonder, man. Like, it's going to be exciting, especially going down the stretch, because both Michigan and Michigan State have formidable teams right now, and Ohio State is going to be good. Penn State, Wisconsin, and man, you got these. Now you got to think about it. Nebraska lost to Colorado, but Nebraska's gonna be tough. Like, this Big Ten,
it's really good.
Are we really?
It's really good.
Are we at the point where, okay, top to bottom, the Big Ten is better than the SEC, but top 5 for top 5, the SEC is better? Or would you go top 3 versus top 3? Like, where would you guys break down the Big Ten versus SEC?
It's too hard to say, I think, this early in the season, because you don't really know what you have. I think it's kind of too early in the season to say that.
Yeah, I think from top to bottom, the Big Ten Conference might be the best in the country from top to bottom. In terms of just the top teams, I would still go with the SEC, but they're the top dogs. I think SEC and the Big Ten are the top dogs, in my opinion. I think the Pac-12 is down. The Big 12's got some teams, but Texas went out and lost a big game against LSU at home. That definitely brings the conference down a notch. I think it's ACC's nothing other than Clemson. Like, it's the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's like,
going to the
this might be a
playoffs.
crazy thing to say, but this could be a year where 2 Big Ten teams get in it.
Everything
would have to break a certain way, obviously. But it could be a year where that happens.
You would have to have a Michigan State, or Ohio State go undefeated into the Big Ten championship, and you would have to have Wisconsin. Well, this couldn't even happen. It might have to be Iowa. I don't know, man. Like, the only way I could see it was because
Michigan, Ohio State could go both go undefeated. One of them loses to the other,
and then they play each other.
The one who wins the Big Ten. The team that finished second in the East goes to play.
Beats an undefeated Wisconsin team in a classic in the Big Ten championship, maybe. Yeah. And then you have
Michigan and Ohio State go in, or it could be Michigan State. It could be Michigan State, Ohio State. Maybe even Penn State. Penn State's looking good too. Like, there's scenarios where it could happen.
But you would have to have some major losses.
Things would really have to work out. Yeah. But I'm just saying
the SEC would really have to, because I think the problem is for the Big Ten is that they're going to beat each other up. Like we said, Wisconsin has to play Michigan State and Michigan. What if they beat one of them? What if Wisconsin beats Michigan State and then goes undefeated the rest of their way? So then that means they beat Michigan, but then Michigan beats Michigan State and they beat Ohio State. Michigan State beats Ohio State, and it gets so convoluted where everybody's just beating each other up. And then Nebraska sneaks a win. I don't even know Wisconsin's whole schedule, but somebody on their side sneaks a win on them, and they just beat each other up. And they each, you got 2 Big Ten teams, say it's Michigan and Wisconsin, going into the Big Ten championship game, and they each have 2 losses.
And it's a scenario when the Big Ten team doesn't get it. I'm just saying, like, the Big Ten's really good. There's a situation where it could happen.
I hear you on that.
What was your big takeaway from college football? Obviously, we've broken down Michigan, we've broken down Michigan State, we've given our opinions pretty thoroughly on those 2 teams.
And I know,
what was your one thing that you've seen outside of
I want to go first because I told you we were talking about this earlier, and I just wasn't sure because there's a few things, but then bringing up this one thing struck me, and my big thing, the big thing that I think looking outside of looking outside of the Big Ten is Jalen Hurd, man, quarterback for Oklahoma, leaves Alabama, with all that went down with that, and goes to Oklahoma and just is dominating. He looks amazing. He looks better than he ever looked at Alabama, and I think Oklahoma is primed for a run. And Jalen Hurd looks like he could win the Heisman. That's the biggest thing I'm looking at, right? That's my biggest takeaway right now is how crazy that story is.
My biggest takeaway is just we saw Urban Meyer leave and we're all happy about it. We're all excited. We're thinking, hey, we might have a chance to beat Ohio State, but it looks like they're still going to be world beaters, and they're not going to take a big of a dip as we thought. They didn't have as great a competition, but I mean, when you shut out a team, it doesn't matter. You shut someone out, that's huge. No matter what professional, college, sport you're playing, that's setting a tone. You're doing good if you shut someone out.
They look good, man. Justin Fields, J.K. Dobbins, man, the running back.
So even with
they look good.
Yeah. So that's my biggest take is it's still going to be a tough game if we can make that game. Michigan can make that game the biggest game on the earth again, like it's been in the past. That's my biggest take from the first couple weeks.
And mine was LSU, Joe Burrow. He's been unbelievable. And LSU's situation in the past, I mean, gosh, however many years, has been the fact that they have no quarterback play. Yeah, the quarterback play has been abysmal. It hasn't been able to match what they have, all the talent that they have on that team across the board. Their quarterback play has been so bad, hasn't been able to take them to that next level. Well, they got that quarterback now. Like, Joe Burrow is unreal. And went into Texas on the road, the game of the night, game of the week, and goes 31 for 39, 471 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then the big play, they're trying to run out the clock. It's 3rd and 17. He avoids pressure, makes this incredible throw off balance for a touchdown, and ends the game. Unbelievable play, unbelievable pressure. The whole crowd's going nuts. National television, and he makes this incredible play for a touchdown. The kid's unbelievable. And for the season, he's 749 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like, clearly the Heisman front runner right now. And man, I'm already. There's going to be so many great college football games. But
clearly, I think Jalen Hurts got something to say about that.
I think Jalen Hurts didn't go into Texas yet. Well, he's going to have the opportunity to, and we'll see what happens when he goes and plays Texas. But I mean, that was the biggest win so far in college football, was LSU going into Texas and winning that game.
Yeah.
And we're going to see. We're going to see what this LSU team can do in the SEC. And man, I'm already looking forward. This used to be such a big game. It was LSU Alabama. That was one of those games you always circled. Whoa. Like, man, it is absolutely circled right now. LSU Alabama later this year. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I'm not sure where that game is at this year.
Oh man, that should just be played. I don't know. Part of me thinks it should just be played on a neutral site.
Oh God, no.
But no, I'm just going to contradict my own self because I couldn't imagine that. Well,
Michigan Ohio State.
No, I was going to say Michigan State being played at Ford Field every year.
God,
it's at Alabama.
You think so?
Yeah, it's at Alabama.
It's Alabama. So I don't know, man. Like,
that's what makes college football great, man. It's the atmosphere.
The atmosphere of being in the other team stadium for those big games, and it would take away something. They played the Florida Georgia game. They always play that in
the neutral field.
Yeah, you know, what do they call it? The biggest tea party in the world?
It was the biggest cocktail party. They changed it to something to be politically correct, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. I get because that's cool, you know. But no, but I'm already getting mad at myself for even bringing it up.
But just to finish my point with LSU, it's just like we always feel like Alabama's just going to be run through everybody, and they'll end up playing Georgia. Well, you got another team that's there.
Yeah.
Like LSU is another team that could bring Alabama down, and that excites
me.
And
it is a good game usually every year, and those are those games, man. Those are those games you look forward to. That LSU, Bama, Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Ohio State. That's what makes college football beautiful. We're here, man. College football's here, and it's shaping up already to be a wild, wild season. Let's just pray that it's not another Clemson-Bama championship. We're going to wrap it up here, guys, but that is one thing about it. Do you want to see Bama Clemson again?
No.
I don't think anybody does.
I don't.
Except for Bama and Clemson fans.
I don't want to see it, but Clemson's got a clear run to the playoffs. Like, no one's stopping them in the ACC. But Alabama's got some challenges, and that's exciting.
And then you got the playoffs, so let's hope this number 4 team can come in and be solid. Maybe it's going to be Michigan.
Maybe
Michigan State.
Maybe Michigan State. They got the defense to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the college football edition of the Detroit Sports Sit Down. It has been a pleasure talking football with you fellas. For Dan Murphy and Joe Perry, my name is Tom Murphy Jr. This is the Detroit Sports Sit Down. We can't wait to talk again next week. Peace.